Hey guys, MoiDawg here, and today we're taking a look at Squad's newest faction, the Turkish land forces added to the game with the V7.0 update, Crimson Strike. With this update, there are a few other features added to the game, as well as plenty of bug fixes and map updates, so if you are interested in those, please check out my full 7.0 patch notes video, but in this one, we're just going to be going over the faction itself. All the weapons, attachments, vehicles, deployables, everything you need to know about the Turks will be right here. But before we get into that, this video is sponsored by Manscaped, the global men's lifestyle brand that is revolutionizing the landscape of men's grooming. Today, we've got the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. This not only has that perfect trimmer blade that you need to get all around those nooks and crannies, but also an interchangeable foil blade for enhanced performance. But that's not all, because I know you probably have a custom-built PC, right? So why not have your trim settings be customizable as well? It comes with 3 different customizable trim settings from 1.4mm to 12mm, and with an LED light to help you find your way. While also being waterproof, you can take care of all your grooming needs with quick and easy cleanup. This package will also get you the Weed Whacker 2.0 ear and nose hair trimmer, as well as a crop soother and crop preserver ball deodorant, because you know why. When you purchase a Performance Package 5.0 Ultra with promo code MOiDawg with the link down in the description below, you'll also get 2 free gifts, the Shed Travel Bag for storage and the Boxers 2.0, plus 20% off your entire order and free international shipping. Get yourself ready for the holidays. Click the link down in the description below, and thank you again for Manscaped for sponsoring this video. And now let's get on with it. Now, starting off with the uniforms, you'll be able to quickly identify the Turkish land forces by their dark green helmet and woodland camo, as well as a chest rig that has a very prominent center pouch. There's also a good amount of variation in the helmet netting, chest rig loadouts, sunglasses, face coverings, and large backpacks. So after a few rounds, you should start to be able to easily identify who's what kit simply by looking at them. I did flip through quite a few different maps to see if the Turks do have both a woodland and a desert camo pattern, but at the moment it looks like they only have this one, which I believe in the real world is actually called arid. So do keep an eye out in the future if any new camo variations are added. Moving on to their infantry kits, the primary weapon will be the MPT-76, which fires 7.62 in both semi and full auto with a 20-round magazine. Although there is a 5.56 version of this rifle in the real world, we will only be getting the 7.62 battle rifle variant, meaning that they will all have a lot of kick but much more stopping power and add a lot more suppression, not unlike the G3 or FAL. As you can see, semi-auto has quite the kick, but it is much more manageable than full auto. But if you do choose to hip fire instead, you're really just rolling the dice when it comes to hitting your target. I do think that MPT handles kind of like if you were to mix an AK-74 and G3, and I have preferred it over to the G3 itself, but this will be a weapon that will require a bit of a learning curve to use when compared to something as simple as the M4. Additionally, there are some nice visuals to the rifle itself, including the opaque magazine and individually animated bullets. All 20 rounds inside this magazine will react appropriately when fired, meaning that you actually see them move up as you shoot. The reload animation itself is smooth, and there's a second reload animation if you're not completely empty. Overall, the MPT-76 is a very well-made rifle with some good animations, and I think it definitely does its real-life counterpart justice. For the attachments, squad leaders will have the angled foregrip to help with recoil, but I personally wish the foregrip bipod attachment was added instead. In-game currently, this is unique to the British squad leaders with the L85, but almost every image you see of the MPT-76 in training or in combat has this foregrip bipod, so that is something I personally think would be a great addition in the future. Now for your optics, starting off with your irons, OWI has opted to not include the carry handle sight, so instead you'll have a basic circle rear sight very similar to the M4. It's clean, it's simple, and you can adjust it in 100-meter increments up to 500 meters. Your medium-range optic is the H&A Masonix holo sight based off of the H&A Photonix holo sight created in Turkey, and has a very clean sight picture with the red circle and red dot in the center. For long range, you'll be using the A940 dual magnification optic, allowing you to swap between 1x and 4x zoom options using F. When ADS, the optic itself will allow for accurate target acquisition of up to 1,000 meters away, and although this is a pretty busy sight picture, I personally like all the information that the A940 gives you, and I think it's incredibly helpful, especially since the larger 7.62 round can easily drop an enemy in just 2 shots. For the rest of the supporting kit, the Turkish Land Forces melee weapon is the G3 bayonet. The sidearm is the SOR 9, based off of the Turkish Sarsılmaz SAR 9 9mm pistol with a 17-round magazine, and you'll be using the M67 frag grenade as well as M18 smoke grenades. For the bandage, shovel, and field binoculars, they are the same ones that are used on the other NATO factions. Now, for the kits themselves, Squad Leader 1 has the MPT-76 with iron sights and the angled foregrip, plus tracer rounds and 8 magazines. You'll get the SOR 9 pistol as a sidearm with 2 magazines, 2 M67 frag grenades, 2 white, 1 green, and 1 yellow smoke grenades, binos, and a rally. SL2 has the same exact kit but with the H&A hollow sight, while SL3 will use the A940 variable optic and have only 1 grenade instead of 2. For crewmen and pilots, your primary weapon will be the SOR 109T, the very first modern submachine gun in the game. Firing at 900 RPM with a 30-round magazine, this thing absolutely dumps ammo, but since it is only a 9x19mm parabellum round, you need to be in extremely close quarters for it to be effective. It does have the option to fire in semi-auto, but realistically, full auto burst is going to be your best bet. It has extremely manageable recoil, and even hip firing this thing isn't that bad, but remember, you only have 2 magazines. Throw on the H&A hollow sight, and overall, this is a great weapon to have if you do have to dismount your helicopter or vehicle. All crewmen and pilot kits will also get the pistol, binos, and repair kit, while lead crewmen and lead pilots will also have a rally. Crewmen will have white smoke and a shovel, while pilots will only have yellow smoke. For medics, Medic 1 has the MPT-76 with hollow sights, 8 magazines of ammo, a pistol with 2 magazines, knife for melee, 1 grenade, 1 white and 1 yellow smoke, 9 bandages and the medic bag, a shovel, and binos. Medic 2 will use the same exact kit but with the A940 variable optic, only have 7 magazines, and will have no grenade or binoculars. Rifleman 1 will use the MPT-76 with iron sights, but also have the added angled foregrip to reduce recoil. They'll have 8 magazines of ammo, 2 frag grenades, 2 white smoke, shovel, binos, and an ammo bag. Rifleman 2 has this exact same loadout, with the only change being the added H&A hollow sights instead of irons. Rifleman 3 will drop some ammo with only 7 magazines, only have 1 frag grenade, and no binoculars since they'll be using the long-range A940 optic. Now, up until this point, pretty much everything in the Turkish Land Forces has been more or less copy-paste from other factions, but here is where we're going to start to get a pretty large deviation. Typically in the direct combat roles, we have an auto rifleman kit with a light machine gun, but the Turks actually have a full-blown machine gunner. This direct combat machine gunner comes equipped with an MG3 and iron sight, so although it isn't as deadly as MEA's MG3 with their optic, it's still an MG3. This thing absolutely shreds, and giving it to a class that also gets a frag grenade makes the overall Turkish infantry squad much harder to deal with. You'll have 6 boxes of MG3 ammo, a pistol with 2 magazines for your sidearm, 1 grenade, 2 smokes, binos, and a shovel. I absolutely love seeing this kit, and I'm sure plenty of people will be picking it up. Now, the second large deviation from other conventional factions is the Jandarma Kit, which is basically the first conventional faction raider class. You'll have the SOR 109T SMG and the H&A hollow sight with 9 magazines, a pistol, 2 frag grenades, 2 smoke grenades, binos, and a shovel. And although this won't be the perfect kit for every map, find yourself in the middle of an urban CQB environment like Mutaha or Fallujah, and you will absolutely terrorize the enemy. I love that OWI has given a conventional faction something like the Insurgent Raider, and I hope we get more of these twists on regular faction balance in the future. For Grenadier, we actually get 2 different kits for the Turks. The first is your usual underbarrel grenade launcher with the MPT-76, A940 optic, and AK-40 GL attachment. This GL gives you the ability to fire from 50 meters all the way up to 400 meters, but also including a 350 meter range instead of just 300 or 400, which is really nice. You have 10 frag grenades, 2 white, 2 blue, and 2 red smokes, a shovel, and binos. And overall, it's a very nice Grenadier kit that everyone should be very familiar with. However, the second Grenadier kit is very, very different. Your primary is the MPT-76 with iron sights, but you'll also be getting the MKE multiple grenade launcher. This is the first handheld grenade launcher in Squad and comes with 2 sets of 6 high-explosive dual-purpose grenades. Although you can't hold down left-click to fire them automatically, you can just tap-fire the MGL in order to quickly shoot all 6 grenades at once, and the results are awesome. Now, what might be even more awesome than shooting all of this is the reload animation. This whole GL is just modeled perfectly. The animation is amazing, and it's just really fun to shoot. Just like the underbarrel grenade launcher, you can range this from 50 meters up to 400 meters, and you will also get 12 smoke grenades as well, which allow you to make an insane smoke screen really quickly. With binos, 2 regular smoke grenades, and a shovel to round out the kit, I would be very surprised if this isn't taken every single game. It's really just too fun not to use, and with the smokes added in, it is incredibly helpful for infantry squads. Now, another big break from the usual kit loadouts is the anti-tank. The Turkish land forces actually have no heavy anti-tank kit, and instead, you'll be able to choose between 3 LAT kits. LAT 1 has the MPT-76 with irons and 8 magazines as your primary, with the RPG-7V2 and PGO scope for your anti-tank. You'll have 2 frags and 2 heat, plus 2 smoke grenades, binos, and a shovel. Now, both LAT 2 and LAT 3 will have the Law instead of RPGs, making for an interesting mix of both Russian and NATO-style anti-tank kits all in the same squad. LAT 2 will get the MPT-76 with hollow sight, 2 grenades, and binos, LAT 3 will get the A940 variable optic, 1 grenade, and no binos. Now for Marksman, you'll be getting the DMR variant of the MPT, the KNT-76 with the Keskin 6 and 12 times variable optic and bipod. I really like the KNT. It sounds good, it has a quick fire rate, and if you do need a hip fire in a pinch, the recoil is actually reasonable. The Keskin optic as well is very clean, and I think Marksman players will really enjoy using it. For the rest of the kit, you'll get the usual pistol, 2 smokes, binos, and a shovel. Now your specialist kits are the Machinegunner and Combat Engineer kits, and as MG, you'll be using the PMT-76 and A940 optic, which has a 75 round bag and fires at 900 RPM. This thing absolutely shreds, and it feels a lot like an M240 Bravo since it basically is an M240 Bravo. So if you do like the American M240, you'll most likely enjoy using this as well. You'll also have a pistol for your sidearm, 2 smokes, and a shovel. Last but not least is the Combat Engineer, which has the MPT-76 with irons and 6 magazines, 3 anti-tank mines, 1 C4, 2 smokes, 1 razor wire, 1 sandbags, a repair kit, binos, and a shovel with that increased shoveling speed. As a whole, the Turkish Land Forces infantry kit is designed to kill enemy infantry and disable vehicles for their own vehicles to mop up. It's an incredibly different collection of kits and weapons, and although it might take some getting used to, I think it's going to make for a very fun faction to play as and against. Now moving on to vehicles, let's start off with the Logi and transports with the BMC-185 truck. The transport variant has a canvas rolled up while the Logi variant stays covered, and it does handle a bit like the Russian Kamaz. Now, if you thought it did look stubby at first glance, well, that's because it actually is, and when compared to the American M939, for example, you can see it's actually about half the size. Now, I don't usually think Logi trucks are cool, but the BMC is definitely cool. It has great camo, great handling, and it's small enough to zip around and set up a sneaky fob. For armored cars, you'll be using a few different variants of the Cobra II. They can seat a full squad and are armed with the MG3 or 50 cal as either open top or remote weapon systems. The RWS view is very clean with a stabilized 3x zoom and rangefinder, and the driver for all variants gets 2 40mm defensive smoke launchers. And if you look right behind the steering wheel, you'll notice a GPS display. This is an accurate representation of where your vehicle is on the map as indicated by the white arrow, and this is just a really cool feature since while driving, I know I frequently have to open up the map to figure out where I am or where I need to turn. The ACV-15 is the faction's armored personnel carrier, and it's equipped with either the MG3 or 50 cal in an open top turret. Although it is technically an amphibious vehicle in the real world, there is not a water indicator when you hop in the driver's seat here, so don't try and ford any rivers with this thing. You're just gonna sink. Now, since it is based on the M113 APC, it is just as quick and mobile and is very easy to drive, while having a very nice driver's port for visibility. As a driver, you can also swap between defensive smoke launchers or drive smoke, and like other APCs, it can hold 600 ammo and allows you to swap to any kit if you interact with it. However, the ACV-15 actually has an IFV variant, the ACV-15 25mm. Yes, they slapped a Bushmaster on top of an APC and called it a day, but man, is this thing fun to drive around. As ridiculous as it looks, the height of the ACV-15 itself gives the gunner a pretty good angle to shoot at and allows for plenty of hold down moments between berms or HESCO blocks. You have 70 AP Sabo rounds, 230 high explosive incendiary rounds, and an M240C as your coax with defensive smokes. The gun sight is stabilized, has a rangefinder and a 2x zoom with very similar sights to both the LAV-25 and Bradley. The only thing I really don't like is that the command hatch actually sits just to the bottom left of the gunner, and you only get about 270 to 300 degrees of visibility, with a pretty big blind spot behind the vehicle, so do be careful. The Pars 3 is the faction's wheeled IFV, and it comes in a few variants as well, carries a full squad, 600 ammo, and you can also swap to any kit. The vehicle itself has a very nice driver's view, it's quick, it handles a bit like a striker, and you can select both 40mm defensive smoke or drive smoke. The remote weapon systems are just like the Cobra IIs, but not only can you use the 50 cal or MG3, but there is actually a Mark 19 grenade launcher variant. For this one, you have 120 40mm grenades, and with the speed of the Pars itself, you can conduct some absolutely nasty drive-bys. Additionally, there is a 25mm Pars 3 variant as well, giving the faction something a bit like an LAV. It has the same loadout as that ACV-15 with 70 AP rounds, 230 high explosive incendiary rounds, a 240C coax machine gun, and 40mm smoke launchers. The command hatch for the Pars is only about 180 degrees to the vehicle's front, so as a gunner, you will have to be constantly rotating to make sure you're seeing everything. The Turkish land forces will also be receiving a completely new main battle tank, the M60T. This is essentially a modernized M60 and has a distinctive sloped turret and large chassis. The driver's view makes it very easy to see what's ahead of you, and it moves very similarly to the M1 Abrams with a very good forward and reverse speed. Additionally, as a driver, you'll be able to use your usual drive smoke. For gunners, your sight is very nice. I really like the clean look of this with all the information along the border. You can toggle stabilization on and off, you have a rangefinder in the top left, and the unzoomed view itself makes it very easy to quickly find your target and fire off a shot. You do have a 3-stage zoom, with the final stage looking very similar to the Abrams gun sight, and you can choose between 21 AP Sabo rounds, 20 HE frag rounds, which are anti-infantry only, or your coax machine gun. But in order to make up for the squishiness of the old M60 body, you also come equipped with 2 laser homing anti-tank missiles, or Lahat missiles. In game, they fire and move a lot like the Russian T-72's reflex missiles. They're quick with a sharp turn up and to the right before they eventually level out and impact on your target. Do be careful though, as they do have a fairly long reload. Lastly, the commander gets a full 360-degree 50 cal turret with a very basic 2x zoom. As a whole, the M60T is a very fun tank. It's not going to be the best thing out there, and it will definitely need a good crew when going up against things like the Chinese ZTZ, but it has good anti-armor and infantry tools while being speedy, allowing for some nice hit and runs. Finally, the Turks also get the Huey for their helicopter. The UH-1H can carry 900 build or ammo, has 2 MG3s for door guns, and is a Huey. Do I need to say anything more? I absolutely love the cockpit view and the sound of the startup, and while you're flying it, it just really feels good. I'm not going to pretend I'm the best pilot, but even I was able to zip around, J-hook, and do everything you'd want to do with a Huey, so I'm sure all you pilots out there are going to absolutely love this. Now, although you can't physically use these vehicles yourself, the Turkish land forces also get a couple unique commander call-ins. The TB2 UAV for recon, and the F-16 Falcon for close air support. And just like other conventional factions, you can also call in the 155mm static or creeping artillery barrages. For FOB deployables, you'll have the familiar 50 cal heavy machine guns and M252 mortars, but instead of the TOW, we're going to be getting the brand new MILAN. This is a French-German ATGM launcher with a 2-stage zoom, and personally, some people might not care that the model looks like a MILAN since it actually feels like you're firing a regular TOW. But this is the type of stuff that makes the factions feel like themselves. It's unique, and I love that it's included in the game. But that's about everything you need to know about the Turkish land forces. They're an incredibly unique faction when it comes to the conventional forces themselves. There's a lot of kit variations, a lot of differences in your squad buildup, with a heavy infantry focus, lightly armored and highly mobile vehicles, and you're going to have just enough heavy firepower to knock out enemy assets when needed. Overall, I didn't know what to expect when I first heard about Turkey being added to the game, but this feels good. It's different and maybe a little hard at times while people get used to the unique playstyle, but it feels good. But what do you guys think? Do you like the new kits like the Jandarma? Maybe you're looking forward to flying the Huey or playing around with the M60T? Let me know your thoughts about everything down in the comments below, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. But that's it for me. Until next time, peace.